Welcome back. Lance Scurv X here, the Scurv Podcast, lancescurvx.com. This is a topic that I definitely had to go in with surgical precision. It's very sensitive. It's about the clash of two cultures, dating, relationships, and expectations. So I want you to understand that there is no one-size-fits-all situation between these two cultures and between the two mentalities. We're not saying that all African women are poor. We're not saying that Black American men, African American men are only looking for one thing when they come out here. This is a general heads up for those who need to avoid the shock of the slight differences, to kind of bring a little bit of understanding between the sexes. And I am focusing on African American or American African men coming to the motherland, Africa, and more specifically, Ghana, because that's where I live and that's where I made my observations. And a lot was shared with me with my dear friend who I give the nickname Customato, as well as my own observations and defining them. So I'm going to share the notes and the words jotted down, and hopefully this can be something that's very eye-opening for us as a people to ultimately bring us together in understanding, okay? So this is not something to put anybody down. This is just reality. Let's move forward. The poverty no one talks about. There's a conversation that too many people are afraid to have honestly. It's the conversation about Black American men who move to Ghana or other parts of Africa searching for peace, companionship, emotional connection, and sometimes intimacy, as that is natural. The women here are very beautiful. Many men arrive believing they are escaping the coldness and emotional distance of America. But when they arrive, they are shocked to discover that relationships often feel transactional. The women may be kind, beautiful, respectful, and feminine, but very quickly the conversation turns toward money, bills, rent, food, transportation, or survival. Many American men take this personally. They feel disappointed. Some feel used. Some become angry and start speaking negatively about African women. But the deeper truth is something most people are not emotionally mature enough to admit. The problem is not simply the women. The problem is that both sides are starving for different things. Understand that. The African woman in poverty is often starving financially. The American man is starving emotionally. One is searching for provision. The other is searching for connection. One wants stability in survival. The other wants affection, closeness, comfort, peace, and someone to simply sit beside them without tension. These are two completely different hungers meeting each other face to face. I'm taking my time with this because I want you to see what it's really all about. Most Black American men do not realize how emotionally deprived they are until they leave America. In America, loneliness has become normal. Emotional disconnection has become normal. People sit in the same house and barely speak. Families live under the same roof, but feel emotionally worlds apart. Couples sleep beside each other yet feel spiritually disconnected. America has become rich materially, but becoming bankrupt emotionally. Meanwhile, many African communities still carry a deep sense of togetherness and communal identity. Even in hardship, people gather together. Even in struggle, people still laugh together, visit each other, share food, speak with neighbors, and remain connected to family. Financial poverty exists, yes, but emotional isolation is not as dominant as it is in America. That difference changes everything when relationships begin between Americans and Africans. Many Black American men who relocate to Ghana and other parts of Africa do not fully understand what they are really searching for. They may believe they are searching for a woman, but deeper than that, they are searching for relief from emotional starvation. They want warmth. They want softness. They want understanding. They want presence. They want somebody who makes life feel human again. Some men are coming out of long periods of emotional neglect. Some are in marriages where affection disappeared years ago. Some have spent decades feeling invisible. Some have money, but no closeness. Some have success, but no peace. Some have spent so many years surviving that they forgot what genuine emotional comfort feels like. So when they come to Africa and meet women who are beautiful, warm, playful, feminine, and welcoming, it feels refreshing at first. It feels healing. It feels like finally breathing fresh air after being trapped in emotional pollution for years. But then reality enters the room. The woman begins asking for help financially. Maybe it starts small: transportation money, food, rent, hair expenses, family problems, medical bills, school fees. Suddenly, the American man becomes frustrated because emotionally he's thinking, why can't we just spend time together? Why does everything revolve around money? But from her perspective, the answer is simple: survival. See, it's two different languages of need. This is where many misunderstandings happen in these particular unions. The American man often sees love through emotional connection. He wants quality time. He wants affection. He wants companionship. He wants intimacy that feels emotional and spiritual, not just physical. Even when sex is involved, many men are secretly craving emotional reassurance just as much as physical pleasure. But many women raised in survival-based environments see relationships differently. They may appreciate companionship, but provision comes first because provision equals safety. Provision equals stability. Provision equals protection. That is not always manipulation. Often, it is simply cultural conditioning mixed with economic reality. To many African women, especially younger women dealing with financial hardship, an older American man already represents opportunity and stability before he even speaks. His lifestyle alone may look wealthy beyond imagination compared to local conditions. A retired American receiving a monthly check can appear unbelievably rich from another perspective. The American man may say, I'm not rich, but in comparison, he is. He may see himself as lonely and emotionally exhausted. She may see him as financially secure and capable of changing her life. Both people are looking at each other through the lens of their own hunger. That is why frustration happens. He feels emotionally unseen. She feels financially unsupported. He wants closeness. She wants stability. He wants affection without feeling used. She wants assistance without feeling judged. Neither side fully appreciates the other's poverty. One of the hardest truths to accept is that many Americans have become emotionally damaged by the culture they were raised in. People grow up disconnected from neighbors, disconnected from family, disconnected from nature, disconnected from community, and eventually disconnected from themselves. Children grow up alone in rooms staring at screens. Families rarely eat together. People work constantly yet feel empty inside. Friendships become shallow. Relationships become temporary. Physical touch becomes very much rare. Genuine emotional support becomes uncommon. This creates emotional starvation. A starving person craves intensely because they are deprived. That is why some American men become desperate for companionship later in life. It is not always about lust. Sometimes it's deeper than sex. Sometimes a man simply wants warmth, kindness, conversation, laughter, and presence. Sometimes he wants to feel emotionally alive again. But when he carries that emotional hunger into a place where many women are financially hungry, both sides can misunderstand each other badly. The man may think, she always wants money. The woman may think, why is this man so emotionally needy? Neither realizes that both are reacting from survival wounds. There's another uncomfortable truth many men must face honestly. If a much older foreign man pursues a much younger woman in a struggling economy, the relationship will almost always contain some level of transaction. That does not automatically make it fake. It simply means both parties are bringing needs into the relationship. The man may want beauty, youth, affection, comfort, attention, and intimacy. The woman may want security, opportunity, financial support, and protection. This arrangement has existed throughout human history in different forms across cultures worldwide. The problem is not the arrangement itself. The problem begins when people lie about what they truly want. Many men pretend they only want love when they also desire youth, beauty, admiration, and physical intimacy. Many women pretend they only want emotional connection when they also desire financial support and stability. Honesty changes everything. If both people understand the nature of the relationship clearly, there's less resentment. The pain usually comes from false expectations and emotional fantasy. Some men travel to Africa imagining they will instantly find unconditional love simply because they left America. But geography does not erase human nature. Every culture has its own survival systems, relationship expectations, and social realities. This conversation is not about blaming African women. It's not about attacking American men either. It's about understanding human behavior honestly. A woman wanting provision from a man is not automatically evil. A man wanting affection and intimacy is not automatically wrong. Problems begin when people refuse to communicate honestly, or when fantasy replaces reality. Many African women are raised to view a man primarily as a provider. Many American men are raised in emotionally broken environments where they are starving for closeness and peace. When those two realities collide, confusion often follows. The American man must understand that many women overseas are operating from survival instincts. The African woman must understand that many American men are carrying deep emotional loneliness that money cannot fix. And perhaps the deepest truth of all is this: many Black American men are not only leaving America searching for women, they're searching for community, they're searching for belonging, they're searching for emotional oxygen in a world that taught them to survive materially while dying spiritually. Being used is not the same thing as entering a relationship where needs are openly understood. Using someone requires deception. If a woman clearly expects provision and a man clearly understands that expectation, then both adults are making informed choices. Likewise, if a man openly desires companionship, affection, or intimacy without promising marriage or forever, honesty matters. Too many relationships fail because people hide their real motives behind fake performances. Truth may feel uncomfortable, but truth creates clarity. A man should never hate women simply because they value security or provision. A woman should never hate men simply because they desire affection and intimacy. Human beings are wired differently, and culture shapes how those needs are expressed. The key is emotional maturity. Black American men moving to Africa must stop romanticizing everything they see. Africa is beautiful, but it is also real life. Poverty exists, survival exists, cultural differences exist, emotional misunderstandings do exist. At the same time, African women should not automatically assume every American man only wants sex or ownership. Many men are deeply lonely in ways that cannot be measured financially. Many are carrying invisible emotional wounds from decades of disconnection. The saddest part of modern life is that some of the richest nations produce some of the loneliest people. Meanwhile, some of the poorest communities still hold on to togetherness, family bonds, and emotional closeness that money cannot buy. The lesson here is not to become bitter. The lesson is to become aware. Awareness prevents resentment. Awareness creates wisdom. Awareness allows people to enter relationships with open eyes instead of fantasy. A man seeking companionship abroad must understand the environment he's entering emotionally, culturally, and economically. If he does, he can avoid unnecessary anger and unrealistic expectations. And maybe that is the greatest truth of all. Sometimes the real poverty is not financial at all. Sometimes the deepest poverty is the absence of connection, affection, belonging, and human warmth in a world full of people who no longer know how to truly be there for one another. I hope these words have brought some sense of clarity to you if you have experienced this disconnection or misunderstanding abroad. And it doesn't have to be just Africa. It could be South America. It could be places, Vietnam, Philippines. It could be so many different places. When you go abroad and you seek the companionship. Because one thing is for sure, I know for a fact that American people are so disconnected, so lonely, so out of touch. That inner glow and joy is just not there in many cases because so many people are chasing the bag, so-called, and they've forgotten the original. You know, my dear friend told me that way back in the day, even though she may have been in situations where there weren't many people around her growing up, and sometimes there were, but even the culture, you know, we had TV shows like Good Times, Sanford and Son, The Jeffersons, heck, even the Brady Bunch and the Partridge Family. They pushed the sense of togetherness and family and community. And if you didn't have it immediately, you felt it through these TV programs. But even the media is guilty of the separation, and especially so-called Black culture, which is not Black culture, African American culture. It's been hijacked, and I always say this, in 1989, 1990, hip hop music was changed drastically. It became about the guns. It became about the women selling themselves for money and degrading themselves and seeing themselves only as being able to offer physical pleasure. The hate, the separation, the competitiveness, the materialism, all of these things were infused and embedded into the mind of our youngsters. And now they come up and that's all they can see. And this is not in every case. And everything I said in this particular expression is not absolute, but it's a general guideline to kind of get you in the mindset mentality that when you do move abroad or you do see a man as an African woman, a man from America, a Black man from America, what his poverty might be, even though you may see, if he's retired, a regular paycheck coming in, which the concept of that is like, wait a second, you're getting paid for work that you used to do when we have to do hand to mouth here. You understand? So there's a lot of perception. So you're getting money for the rest of your life. It may not be a lot, but it may be much more than what some have here. And again, everybody in Africa is not impoverished. There are some who are well-to-do. I've seen more luxury cars and vehicles. I'm seeing more millionaires and affluent people. It's evident. But I will say, you have the haves and the have-nots. You really don't have the middle ground. And so I would say the majority may have the mentality of the have-nots. So what you have on or what you're wearing or your watch or your shoes or, you know, you going to the restaurant and tipping. So wait a second, this person has lots of money, but it's only relative because where we come from in America, that may be the standard, that may not be a lot, but we don't realize how it's viewed. So this is why I always say to people, always try to understand how people see you. You look out to the world and you evaluate the people around you, but how do people see you? See, try that out for size, right? And you'd be surprised how you come off to people who don't know you. And this is something that we have to understand. Yes, true love can be achieved in Africa, but you have to have an understanding because love is expressed in different ways. Everybody has a different love language. Everybody has a different mode of survival. And if we can understand those things, then it would be smoother sailing, not necessarily smooth sailing, but smoother sailing because we're all wired differently. And I say that because, and I made this piece because there are a lot of Black brothers from America who are coming over to move over here and they are looking for wives. So there's several brothers, 3 I can call their name, but I won't put their name out here, that I know you'll really appreciate this piece because there is love here, but you just have to know the proper road to get it. And it's not just about paying somebody money, no, but how we see life. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this piece. I hope you understood it. Everything is not absolute, but it's an average of what I've seen so that people can get along better when they connect out here. Lance Skirv out, on to the next one. I do appreciate your presence here. If you made it this far, leave your comments. That will help guide me as to what you want to hear next, because I'm going to go in on human nature with surgical precision. Take care. On to the next one. Peace.